Welcome aboard, man. Good to chat. I brought something special out for this, Anik.
Hey, cheers to that, brother.
Cheers, man. This is, I think it's day 7 without a monster, or potentially
Oh,
day 8.
you,
This is
you're
my first
actually
one.
you're breaking the fast.
Yeah. We'll see. This could fuck me up, man. I could be shaking after about 20 minutes.
Is that your favorite flavor?
Mm,
That's
between-
my one currently.
I'm not mad on that one. It's okay. This one and the green one.
Yeah, I quite like that one too, man. I'm stocked up for this interview, man. I'm taking
Go through about 6 cans.
6 cans by the end of this interview.
Fucking good to chat, man.
Still less than 100 calories.
Yeah, man.
Hey.
Your calorie comparison videos, they're doing quite well, aren't they?
Yeah, man. To be honest, I feel like it's a lot of shock value. You know, I seen the tactic kind of worked with a couple other creators, and I was like, this is something that I could actually do because I have loads of monsters in the house, and I used to buy in bulk when we had sales on in Tesco, for example. And you know, I was like, this is such a cool idea just to come on to the scene, and like that was one of my first few videos that I started creating. And the one like 5th video in, it kind of went viral on TikTok, and I was like, this is a cool concept, and I didn't do it for a while. And then I started back again just recently because I thought it's a cool concept just to show visual references of calories. Now, I'm not telling you to drink 25 cans of Monster, you know, but it is just fun. It's fun to see all the reaction to it, you know, especially on TikTok. TikTok, everyone is just keyboard warriors, and you know, and everyone loves commenting. But that's how you get your engagement up, you know.
Yeah.
You have to rage bait a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Funny, I downloaded TikTok again last week. I had it years ago and I got rid of it because I was like, this is actually frying my brain. I was like on it, you know, when you start scrolling and then an hour goes by and I was like getting loads of weird content. But now, since I downloaded it, I don't follow anyone really, but I'm just getting fucking monster content. Just lads drinking Monster, different types of Monster.
It's a big niche.
Crazy, man. They know. I didn't even like put in that I like Monster or anything. I must have just figured it out. I don't know how I figured it out, but weird.
It is weird, and a lot of the times their phones are listening to us. You know, that's the truth.
Absolutely. But man, great to have you on. So probably a little bit of context for anyone watching. Who is Anik and how do I know him? So myself and Anik did our PT course together, Fitify in Ballymote. Geez, nearly 2 years ago now. That's when we came across each other and then just stayed in contact since. We always have great chats, man. So it's nice to chat to you about like fitness, business, good chats about business, because I find I don't really have that many people at all in my real life circle. Like a lot of stuff online. I'm in mentorship groups and all that. So it's always nice to chat to you, man. Always have interesting conversations. So it'd be good to get an overview of your journey, because when we met in Fitify, you were a good chunk of the way into your transformation, or maybe you're almost finished it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. For the most, basically, yeah, man. When we were in Fitify, I think one of the biggest things that got me to be on my PT course in the first place was the fact that I was going through my own little transformation, and I had a coach, and I know that similarly at the time you also had a coach as well, and
Yeah.
I think that gave us the mindset to push ourselves to even get qualified in such a world as PTing and personal training and just being in fitness and overall. I feel like it was that little like badge of honor that we wanted at the end, just to even feel qualified, feel certified to actually help others, you know. And it was great, and I'm forever grateful for meeting like-minded people such as yourself. We were partners for a lot of the things, and it was great, man. We connected straight away. Like first conversation, me and you just sat down beside each other, and we're like, oh, you have a coach, I have a coach. And we're just talking about our own fitness journey, and we just connected straight away. Ever since we've stayed connected, and it was brilliant, you know. And man, we've both come a long way since.
100%. It's been a big change. Obviously, you're doing big things now, but something actually I don't think I've really spoke to you about as much is before that big transformation. What was your life like before fitness? Were you always into fitness or the gym? Running?
Yeah, man. To be honest, I've been going to the gym for probably over 10 plus years, you know, realistically. It's just the fact that like it was really hard to stay consistent for those majority of years. But now, psychologically looking back at it, there was a lot of things that came into play that now it makes sense in my mind. At the time, when you're less educated in the field of understanding more psychology, or how your testosterone works, how you are as a man, all these things, you don't understand why you have low energy, why you're not enthusiastic about training, how you stay consistent, how building better habits. Of course, these things come in nuance after going through the process yourself. So, for example, before I even got qualified and met you, and I was actually only on my journey like a couple of months before that with a coach. I seen the benefits of what happens when you lower your body fat percentage, you lose weight, and you start building a bit of muscle. You get that enthusiasm for life back. You get that confidence back. You get that energy back. For years, that's exactly what I was chasing. So I was stuck in that hamster wheel of, you know, starting and stopping all the time, you know, and it made me gain a lot of weight. My body image, my self-esteem was quite low for a very long time, for years, you know. And but there was one stage I did look good, and then I didn't look good. You know, I gained a lot of weight due to stress and just things that happened in life. And then at the end of the day, it was my own doing, you know, like my own daily habits that I was the victim to. And yeah, man, when I got into been in fitness for many, many years, it's just a fact that I just couldn't break this cycle.
Yeah.
So when I finally got a coach, and you'll understand now the importance of getting a coach is that you break the cycle and you understand the actual what happens when you actually like apply yourself and fix your daily habits, because it's not you getting in shape once. It's like you learning the habits and the tools to get in shape, and then forever be able to use that. Just like you kept on starting and stopping. If I wanted to today go down to 12% body fat, I could. Do you know? It's because I understand the theory behind it. It's all to me now. It's embedded in me like it's simple maths. Do you know? And
Yeah.
a caloric deficit. I work out for a certain amount of time. I'm getting more steps in a day. All these things, right? But it's like I know that it just has to be embedded into my daily habits, and I can't just go all in for a week and then stop the next week. You know?
Yeah, 100%. And say before you got your coach, that was the first coach you'd ever hired, was it?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know. So you'd been going to the gym a bit, you got some good results. What moment was it where you were like, man, I fucking just feel shit? Was it a moment where you looked at yourself in the mirror, you had a thought process, or you just were, this isn't working? But even before that, did you think you were doing everything right before you hired a coach? Was there a bit of like, I know the knowledge, I know about a calorie deficit, I don't need help? Or was it just you weren't aware of the benefits that a fucking coach could give you?
Would you believe it? Actually, for many, many years, man, I understood the concept of course, like calorie counting and everything.
Mm.
It's like that term calorie deficit just came into my vocabulary around 2023 maybe. And like that concept of being like, okay, if I actually ate less my maintenance and I worked out a bit more, but I did that for a consistent amount of period of time, I understood that like, oh yeah, sure, if you eat less and you work out more, you lose weight, of course, right? But this whole concept of weight loss, caloric deficit, I think has just been, it's been talked about more in the recent years than ever. When I was growing up, it's like, oh, you just have to eat like healthy foods. And like healthy foods was just considered like, you know, chicken and rice and broccoli. And no one taught me the way to like actually enjoy food and how what food does to your body. And like I feel like in schools and stuff like that, man, coming up and like this is the education that's be given to kids. Like nutrition should be an education. You know, it should be like a subject, bro. And I just realized how vital that is coming into your, because you know everything that you eat, everything that you put into your body is the information you give to your body, and your body reacts to that. So if your willpower is depleted, how you feel with motivation, how you feel, it's all food, you know. And it's a nuance of how you like fuel your body to even build up like things like testosterone or estrogen, for example. And yeah, man, like I just feel like I just got a lack of education in food, especially coming from a background like where my parents growing up, like we come from Bangladesh, we came to this country as immigrants. At the end of the day, like they didn't have any education. They were just lucky at food on the table, you know, and
Yeah.
they fed me whatever. Like if I wanted chips, crisps, whatever, like you know, just eat chocolates. That's their breakfast, you know. And
Yeah.
I just I that level of education was not given to them, and then it wasn't passed on to me. But obviously taking into consideration now, getting a coach, learning about nutrition, learning about fitness, getting qualified, it just completely changed my worldview of how things work.
Yeah, 100%. So the big thing for you was around nutrition, whereas I found I had a decent handle of nutrition in that I was tracking calories, I was big into macros, all that. But then I just absolutely fucking destroyed at the weekend, eating loads of takeaways. And I don't think I really understood or maybe I was naive to it, how much damage that was doing. Like, which is funny because I was an accountant. So you think I'd be able to work out the maths on this. But if I'm in a calorie deficit of 500 a day, and then I used to go out and have a takeaway on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes a Monday, if it was a heavy weekend, and it was fucking no wonder I wasn't making progress. And with your own coach, did you find when you signed up with him, did you have a feeling as soon as you signed up it was going to be different, or were you still kind of a bit, oh, I don't know, will this work? Was there an old Anik in there that was still maybe doubting himself a little bit?
100%, bro. There's so many times I just wanted to quit because it got too hard,
Mm.
like focusing on calories, trying to go lower than what you're supposed to eat. Or for example, even just sometimes at the start, it was even like thinking that I couldn't eat the amount of food that that person was giving me, recommended me. Like, because sometimes it's like 3 or 4 or 5 meals a day in small chunks, and then that like divides out the calories throughout the day. You have a bit more better digestion, but I didn't understand any of that. I just thought, okay, I have to eat more food now to lose weight. What the
Yeah.
fuck is this shit? And also all this level of lack of education just made me like really scared of taking on this process. It was scary, bro. It was like I didn't want to do it. I was like, if this is the person to change my mindset about what it takes to change your life, and why wouldn't I do it? Like it is an investment that I'm making on myself. And at the end of the day, like it isn't about just going to gym and just getting a workout plan. It's like having someone there to give you advice at every single phase. So when you're going through a process of transformation, especially if you've been eating and having habits, certain habits for a long time that doesn't serve you, and then each week you're like, oh, I'm just going to go in the gym 3 times a week. And then you're failing on your nutrition every single weekend. Just as you said, bro, many of us were stuck in that cycle of eating takeaways every weekend and just thinking, oh, yeah, sure, I went to the gym today. I can afford to eat this fucking pizza. And that goes over 1,000 calories over your,
Yeah.
maintenance every single week. Um, you understand very fast that it's not the gym that's the problem; it's the food that you're eating, and then the more you have that food as well, the more addictive that food is. So then you get a craving for that food more. I promise you, if me and you didn't have McDonald's for the next 6 months, we wouldn't crave it, ever.
Hmm.
Like
I never have McDonald's. It makes me feel like shit if I
it
have
does, yeah.
it. Upsets my stomach, feel like crap.
The quality
So,
of food, like.
yeah. That's interesting, man. I think you made a good point there. Used to find that. So I was looking at all the videos. Renaissance periodization were getting quite big at the time.
My
I was
guess.
following all their stuff. I had the RP app, but sometimes you just need someone objectively. You can't get this from a YouTube video to be like, here, man, you've just fucking ate takeaways the last 3 weekends in a row. You've come to me with this goal to lose 10 kg. If you keep doing this, you won't get to your goal. And you just can't get that from a YouTube video. You can get the splits, the training, all that stuff I was doing. You can kind of roughly get it. And I think for me, might not be for everyone, but the way kind of I get a kick up the arse is someone just being blunt with me and just being like, here, man, what you're fucking doing isn't working. And then I kind of get a light bulb switch that went off. And then, as you said, it's the investment. I found once I paid the money over for the first month, it bought me in with a level of commitment that I didn't have before. Because I'm like, fucking, I'm spending whatever, €200 a month on this coach. You bet I'm going to put the work in. I'm not going to half arse it. And then it kind of took the decision fatigue out of it. So I was very prone to overthinking, doing all these splits, seeing a new video, trying that in the workout, and then maybe going well with a plan for 6 weeks and then being, oh shit, is this actually working? I don't know, is it working? Whereas if you just have all your stuff laid out from your coach, even just to have someone say each week on a check-in, what you're doing is working, keep doing what you're doing. And sometimes that's all the check-in. And for me, that was great because I was just like, cool, I know now that what I'm doing is working and I'm not fucking around. I'm not changing the plan every 6 weeks. It was unbelievable.
Man, just like that, I feel like we're very similar in that context because just as you said there, something clicked for me there. There was a check-in, I think 9 or 10 weeks in, and I could see some kind of visual, change in me. But obviously wasn't, seeing it as well as my coach could, for example, see it, right? When we compared the pictures, and when in the check-in, he compared the two photos beside each other, and I thought, like 10 weeks in, I'm not really seeing massive progress. I should be seeing more, for example. And then he pointed out, look. like he pointed out, look at this, just the way your belly is curving in, and you're actually losing a bit of visceral fat, and the stubborn fat is going away based on the fact that you're putting the work in and you're in a caloric deficit, and all these things, all these metrics, and they were adding up. The fact that I was checking those boxes every single week, and then he was assessing me, and even just you said as well, like that checking, even that like little bit of saying you're on the right path and you're heading in the right direction, just gives you that little bit of confidence boost each week, and it keeps you going. And that, like, we miss that, like, from just watching YouTube videos. You miss that from just like looking at yourself in the mirror, because you're gonna always be more critical to yourself, for example, or just be too easy on yourself. You know, and when it comes to not training hard enough or not putting in the work to, you know, count your calories a bit better. That's the thing about having a coach. What is a coach? A coach is there to keep you accountable through all these periods of these phases that you have. Where if he knows that, okay, maybe you're plateauing on weight, like we give you a diet break, and then we come back to it when your metabolism reset, you know.
Mm.
And these things, man, it's hard for yourself as an individual that is like probably not a high level of education, that hasn't been doing bodybuilding for many years, that to actually understand these simple concepts and guide yourself through it. Like self-analysis, to be honest, to some extent, it sometimes, majority of the time, does not work, you know.
For sure. I agree there. And actually, you mentioned a good point about the diet break. Even though I'm qualified as a PT, I had a period there a few weeks ago. I was quite busy at work. There was a bit of stress going on, and I was feeling good. And I was like, I can just keep pushing through it. My coach was like, oh, what we're going to do, we're going to do a diet break, up the calories a little bit for a week. We did that. And then 90 days in, I was like, I fucking feel way better. Finished the diet break for a week and just got straight back into it. But it's just all those little things that you just don't notice yourself. And did you find with your coach, so obviously it's very easy to just be like, oh yeah, signed up with a coach and then transform myself. Did you find various points through that journey that you were going back to old habits? Did you even have any slip ups during that point? And how did you manage them?
100%, bro. There was so many times I ended up breaking it and just getting a takeaway. There's so many times I cheated on my diet. There's so many times I didn't want to show up to the gym. There's so many times I was just too wrecked at the end of the day after a long 12-hour shift. Like at the end of the day, man, like life happens. You can't excuse that. Sometimes you just want to enjoy life. So at the end of the day, like you compromise. You understand different tactics. Like if you want to eat a bit more on a certain day, you want to have a pizza. There's a thing called calorie bank that you could do for the rest of the week, or the beginning of the week. When you understand the simple maths of how many calories you need per week, and then you're actually tracking and you're going to a gym, you can actually leave yourself with a bit more flexibility to eat the certain things without that takeaway if you do want to. Like that's why I don't encourage anyone not to eat like fast food or something. At the end of the day, people need a certain type of balance. I know if you want to be an elite level bodybuilder, yeah, okay, there's no such thing as fucking balance. Like, you know, you have to dial the fuck in, right? But majority of people aren't trying to be on stage as a bodybuilder. So you're going to want to have that takeaway, do you know? And so it's all about creating a type of balance, but also the tools, for example, learning things like calorie banking, learning how to keep your proteins and everything in a good macro sync, that you can generally enjoy other types of foods without going over it. Or if you do go over it, other days you just eat a little less, for example.
Yeah, 100%. That's so key. And something I work on with my own clients is everybody's different. And I know sometimes when I chat to people at the start, or maybe they go out for a weekend or they have a takeaway, they're almost a little guilty, or almost they're afraid to share it with me at the start, as if I'm going to scold them. But the thing about that is, if you don't plan for it and you're just kind of still winging it and having the takeaway every weekend, what I said to my guys as well is, you can have the takeaway, but just plan it. And it's getting people to plan their week a little bit more. Have the takeaway as more of a treat or an enjoyment every now and then, rather than having the takeaway as an escape from stress or work being busy, or you didn't go to the gym that day, so might as well just blow up the diet and get a takeaway, and reframing the relationship with food where it's something as enjoyment, and you can have it every now and then, but don't use it to comfort eat and deal with stress. And obviously that's a deeper thing.
Do you know a lot of people, dinner can be something that like they can cook at home, for example, if they finish work and you have your 9 to 5 job, sometimes you can just cook dinner at home. Sometimes your willpower is depleted and you can't, you just don't want to, you get a takeaway, right? But imagine when you don't prepare yourself for lunchtime and you don't prepare your lunches and you don't prepare your breakfasts, you start ending up paying for your breakfast and you're paying for your lunches, which are oftentimes not that healthy. You also don't have enough macronutrients that are actually providing you with the stuff that you need for the day, for example, proteins and all this other stuff. So there is a serious problem with people not preparing, as you just said. Like if you have a Sunday evening free to yourself, the best thing you can do is just prepare for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Even until Wednesday, or Thursday, because at the end of the day, you preparing for the week lets you make less decisions, and that fatigue doesn't build up.
Yeah, and it's so it's such an overlooked point, and I find that with people that come to me as well, they're not planning ahead, and it's not because they don't want to. Generally, when I explain stuff to people, they never say, I don't want to plan, I'm not a planner. It's just they don't know what are the key things they could focus on. So even if I say to someone who's new, maybe just getting the hang of it, if you took 5 minutes on a Sunday and decided what you're going to eat for your breakfast Monday to Thursday, what you'd eat for your lunch, and just have a couple of dinners mapped out within, like, depending on the person, but generally you could have 3 to 4 weeks and they've got that nailed down. And every time it's like, I can't believe it. I'm not thinking about food as much. I'm not tempted to go for something else. And I think as well, it's like, if you know when food is coming next, maybe this is just me, I'm not tempted to snack because maybe I have my lunch and then I'm getting a little bit hungry, but I'm like, oh, it's coming up to 4 o'clock. That's when I usually have my Greek yogurt with my protein and my berries. I think I can hold on 20 minutes. Whereas if you don't know that's coming, you're like, oh shit, man, what am I going to eat? I'm hungry. Just fucking reach into the press, grab something, and then it snowballs so easily.
That's the thing about hunger as well, man. Hunger is just an emotion, and as you said as well, like if you don't plan, you just grab whatever's in the press.
Mm.
But when you're hungry, it's an emotion of your willpower also being depleted to just look for the first thing that's gonna feed you. Your body just wants something. It doesn't care what it is. So when you have those emotions and you can't regulate them, and you don't control them, that's like you are going to just give into those cravings, for example, or anything that you see that could be satisfying that need, and it might not be the best for you in that moment. But then what you do is you do that enough times, you build up a habit. But if you reverse engineer that and you prepare enough times, you also build a habit, and then you're more prepared. So at the end of the day, meal prepping, just packing your lunches, just understanding the simple nutrition of how you can eat, like during a break, a breakfast or a lunch, when you're working, for example, long days, is just the best thing you can do for yourself. Because
Yeah.
the worst thing you can do is not eat at all. And when you not eat at all, you'll come back home at the end of the evening, your willpower completely depleted, and then you might just go all out on a takeaway.
Yeah.
And that is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, and you end up eating way more than you would have eaten if you just had a couple of smaller snacks or smaller meals during the day.
And your excuse could be, oh, I only had one meal, but that one meal could have been 3,000 calories.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I've been doing a bit of work with a couple of people, and one or two of them I remember saying to me, like, I don't really eat much. But then you look at what's going on, and they're maybe having 2 meals a day, but it's fucking 1,000 calories. And then at the weekend, it's takeaways, pints, all that kind of stuff. So you're in a massive deficit during the week and then just completely making up for it at the weekend. And it's hard too, because if you're doing that in your mind, you think you're eating healthy because you probably are most of the time. But then once you put the numbers on it and you build the awareness, I find for people, it's just a light bulb moment goes off. And
100%.
it leads to people, I find, coming to the decision themselves naturally. So I'll never say to someone, right, when we're here, you're not eating takeaways. We're cutting this out. We're cutting that out. Getting awareness of what they're eating. And then I find week one, someone comes to me like, oh, holy shit, there was 280 calories in that large latte. I actually don't know if this is worth it. And then they might cut that out for a couple of weeks because they can do without it, or maybe they have one a week and they kind of make those decisions themselves. Now, obviously, I would kind of guide them. I'd be like, here, you're telling me you're hungry and you're having a 300 calorie latte every day. Could we switch things up a little bit? But I find once the awareness comes, they kind of start to make better choices.
That's it, man. You said it the best there. When you become more conscious about what you're eating, and the best way to do that is just by calorie tracking, understanding what are the calories that are right in front of you when you are trying to decide whatever to eat. I've seen that with many clients as well, man, is the consciousness completely change their perspective of everything. Same with me, same with yourself probably. We've been through it where we probably had certain eating habits for a very long time, but as soon as we start tracking and we understood what everything, calorie wise was, now even when you go into a supermarket, you start looking at everything just appears in calories.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's honestly one of the best things because you make better decisions, and all we have in life is decisions that we make that lead us to our goals, for example.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why, like, I'm a big believer on getting people to track calories for a period. It doesn't have to be forever. So, like, if someone comes to me and they're like, I want to get to 10% body fat, realistically, tracking calories is going to be the quickest way. But if someone comes to me and they're like, I want to lose a couple of kg, and they have like a pretty decent relationship with food, getting them to track the calories and like go through like a couple of months of doing that is going to set them up with awareness for the rest of their life. And I find portion sizes are good. You can do a fist of protein, a handful of carbs, all that kind of stuff, a thumb full of fat. But I've found that when people track, it just builds the knowledge and the awareness way quicker. And then once they have that knowledge, if they don't want to track in future, then you can move them into portion sizes. But because they've tracked for a little bit, now when they're out, when they're in the supermarket, they kind of have a rough idea. And I think if you never build that initial level of awareness, you're still a little bit in the dark.
100%, because you're just doing the guesswork. Like, what are you ever going to learn? You can't just guess your way through life. You have to make calculated decisions. And when you are tracking, you're making a calculated decision because it is just calculation and math at the end of the day. If you have a certain body maintenance of calories that your body needs to stay at the weight that you're at, and your goal is weight loss, is simply just going below that calories. And what you're doing is you're just calculating to that to be able to get to your goals. And same with bulking or trying to gain weight. It's the same concept, just goes up or down.
Yeah.
So all we do in life is just make calculated decisions.
Yeah, 100%, man. With all that said, so you got a handle of your nutrition, you got a handle of your training and everything. How far were you into the process where you were like, shit, I want to be a coach? Or was it always something in that line of work, a coach, someone that was helping people that you wanted to do?
No, man. Honestly, if you said to me even 2 years ago before we met, even a couple of months before that, you said to me that, well, it's like you'd be a fitness coach or you'd be a PT or you'd be, coaching online, making content on fitness, I would have like laughed at you, bro. I
Mm.
honestly did not see this aligned for me. But I just honestly, when I went through the process myself of seeing how the value that a coach brings to someone else, the way I was guided through phases of my journey in a person understanding me in real depth of my situation, customizing everything to me and my preferences, and understanding my nutrition, understanding how my body was moving. That was the real value, and I seen that when if I can do that for someone else and change their life the way my life was changed, for example, I just like forever wanted to be at service of people. And I just realized my ultimate, like anything I do, right now, the vehicle is fitness, right? But maybe in later on in life, the vehicle is something else. It's just but I keep this one philosophy behind it all. It's just being at service of people, helping people no matter what. And if I can help people go from A to B in anything, like this is the what I chose. But at the same time, fitness was something that changed my life, and I wanted to do the same for others.
Yeah, I'm very similar to you as well, man. And I found when I was working as an accountant, it was okay for 2 or 3 years. And I hate to use the word purpose because it gets thrown around a lot. What's your one true purpose? I'm not sure about it just yet, but I was doing accounts and just getting them to be signed by people who aren't even reading the accounts and just fucking don't give a shit is not rewarding at all. And I remember doing an assessment with a career guidance counsellor during COVID. He was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, but I'd love to do something where you're helping people. But I knew I didn't want to be a nurse or a doctor or any of that kind of stuff working in a hospital. And exactly as you, like once I went through my own transformation, this is fucking crazy. I've been operating at such a low level that I thought was normal for me, and it's not even close to it at all. So exactly as you, if I could help a few people get in good nick, change their lives, and then obviously you get some satisfaction then as well because you're waking up in the morning. Some days you're like, oh, geez, I'm a bit tired, I'm not arsed. But then you've got clients to get back to. You got clients who need your help. It becomes a lot easier day to day rather than just coming in and trudging, for me, the 9 to 5 and not feeling like what I was doing was having an impact anywhere. And I kind of realized once I went into coaching that I needed that to be making some sort of an impact. If it's fitness or outside of fitness, helping people in some way is very satisfying. Did you find it was hard going from the other side of the fence? So obviously you'd your own coach, you seen how he did it, then getting set up with your PT course and going in coaching first. How did you feel about that?
Honestly, when you have the lack of information of helping others, for example, you don't have the experience, or you just simply are trying to start anything new in life, you will always get something like imposter syndrome. You'll always feel like you're not good enough to teach others, or you're not good enough to help others because you haven't done it enough, right? And all that is just lack of evidence. You haven't put in the reps. You haven't. Of course, it's going to be scary. You know, now looking back at it, I have better terms for what I was going through. At the time, I was just scared. I was anxious. I was stressed out. It was like, fuck, I have to make this leap now. I was like, how do I do this? How do I help people? You know, I do want to do this. Like, this is a fulfilling matter. Like, this is something that I want to hold to a high regard of doing and taking it upon myself. But it was bigger than me at the time. You know, it was like, how do I, for example, even get clients? How do I learn about business? How do I learn about putting myself on social media? That was all scary, bro.
Yeah.
And you can probably relate to that too. It's tough when you've never done it and you're trying to transition into that. And like every coach, but then I have to remember as well, yeah, exactly. Every coach has been where I've been. You know,
Yeah.
every person that's gone into any new venture has been exactly where I've been. And they've all got imposter syndrome. And then I was listening to this podcast once, and I just someone said this, and it kind of clicked with me, and I've just kind of took this as a saying for what imposter syndrome is. Imposter syndrome is not the fact that you are not good enough to do the thing; it's the fact that you're ambitious enough to try. And the fact that you are ambitious enough to try means that imposter syndrome is the best signal you can get, because you'll feel like an imposter in a realm that you've not experienced in, but you're trying your best in. And that just means that you are willing to actually care and give it your all. And most people, if you don't feel a bit of, like a bit scared going into any new niche, like, I don't know, like they're just delusional belief at the same time as well.
100%. And I agree with you there as well, man. When you're coming into it first, it's overwhelming. I didn't feel it overwhelming in an anxious way. It was just, my fucking God, where do I start here? How do I start getting clients? Then there's always a bit of like, right, I've gotten brilliant shape myself, but does that mean I can get other people in shape? I have the blueprint. It's in my mind. I know exactly how to do it. But then there's always a bit of, when someone starts paying you for the first time, you're like, holy shit, this is real. Can I actually do this? And then you get your first few couple of results with people, and you get a few transformations, and you get the confidence. I think a big thing for me was once I finished the PT course, and it should be the same with any coach, you're not done then. There's still so much learning. So for me, I often have people say to me, you're a coach, why do you have your own coach? Well, my coach is fucking benching over 200 kg. He's already held 280 kg, squatted ridiculous numbers. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever get that high, but it's like someone's gone even further than I've gone. So why would I not keep learning off them? And I found that for me as a coach, talking to other coaches makes it easier because you can just bounce things off. Have you seen this with a client before? I have this coming up, or they'll share something with you, and it's just like helping each other out. And I can definitely relate to the feeling uncomfortable putting yourself out there, man. It's tough. It's tough, especially from going from a safe 9 to 5 to never posting on Instagram. I had one photo of a sunset back from 2015, so I never was into social media at all. And then suddenly, like, posting about yourself, trying to help people, and then there's always a bit of, it's weird for me anyway. I don't know about you, how your mind focuses more on the things that can go wrong at the start. Whereas I was posting, I was like, oh fuck, people are going to think I'm an idiot. People are going to think I'm a fool. And then after 6 months, 8 months, I was like, well, what about the people that you're getting great results for? What about the people that you're helping in the gym, or the people that have said they really enjoyed that post? That's mad how much. It's the same with fitness. I remember recording myself in the gym for the first time. I had the camera down and I was like, oh fuck, this guy beside me is going to think I'm an idiot, think I'm a fool. And it's the same thoughts that you're thinking you're being judged by people that maybe they're judging you, but they're not saying it to your face. So it doesn't fucking matter at all. And I found that just putting in the reps, man, getting more comfortable doing it, posting more, getting more results, working with more people, learning more. But then the bar just gets raised. I found now when I look back last year and this year, the amount of progress I've made, but now the bar is up really high. So it's kind of the same with clients. Some people are, oh, I didn't have a great week, or I'm struggling a bit, but you're down 10 kg and you've completely transformed your diet and relationship with food. And it's good to just look back at the positive shit that's been going on rather than I'm so guilty of what's the next thing, right? The bar is up here now. Now I need to meet this random level that I've decided for myself, and just putting like all this unnecessary pressure. Whereas now I find this year I'm just enjoying it a lot more comfortable with posting, just being, I'm going to try a few things, put it out there, enjoying the clients I work with, and it gets easier. But you still get that. I'm sure you get the same. It's still uncomfortable sometimes. You post something and you're like, ah, should I have posted that? It's that old fucking version of yourself trying to pull you back in.
Mm, that's so true, man. That's so true. I feel like, yeah, we all feel that when it comes to anything, I guess, you know,
Yeah.
and there's always an old version of ourselves trying to pull us back into our old habits, because you can't technically completely unwire a person's bad habits of something that they've done for years and years and years in just a year. Do you know, there's going to be a little part of them that will exist and that will try to pull you back into that same pattern. And it's just about recognizing that pattern and
Yeah.
to not, like, you know, be as much resistant towards it as much as possible when it comes to that situation. But if you do it for a long enough period, you've created a new self, and that new self will always protect you from your old self.
Yeah, yeah, very true, very true. I'd say probably the hardest thing for me wasn't the learning the PT course, even the clients and the systems and all that. I really enjoyed all that. It was just, yeah, putting yourself out there and just taking the leap, because it's so different and there's so much opportunity now with online business and everything. And especially when we're from smaller towns, it can kind of be easy to feel, oh, geez, you're posting online. Is this a bit mad? For me, I was, what, in my 30s, just leaving the stable job, pension, fucking everything set up. And a lot of people were like, oh, geez, I don't know. Are you making the right decision? Is this a good idea? And no more than when you're getting in shape first and you have those doubts. I had it when I was getting in shape first. I was like, oh, am I doing too much? Right? Sometimes people were, oh, are you being too strict? Or, you know, in work, people are like, eat the cake, all this kind of stuff. And then I'm going out for a run on Sunday morning at like an 8 a.m., running 15 or 20K. And I was like, maybe I've done enough. Maybe this is like enough. And yeah, man, you always have those old thoughts coming back in. I think that's part of it to recognize too, that I say to clients, is it's not going to be just linear A to B. Plan, nutrition, and you get the results. You have fucking moments where you feel it's not working or you feel like giving up. But I suppose I always say to myself, what's the alternative? Just go back to the way you are and just regret it for the rest of your life. Like, that's not a good feeling. Being like 65 and being like, shit, I should have done that. That scares me a lot more than posting on social media or anything.
I think that's a bigger risk than posting on social media.
100%.
I personally think that if you were to stay comfortable in this chasm of comfortability and you never get out of your comfort zone and you never challenge yourself and you don't do the things you've always thought about, daydreaming about, or even thought about in your head, that, oh, maybe I could challenge myself, and you just never do it, that's the biggest risk you can ever take in life. And that's like you're doing yourself a disservice of never challenging yourself, never pushing yourself to what your full potential is. And I think the worst thing anyone can do in their life is never seek to even try to reach their full
Mhm.
potential, even a some sort of potential. Because that comfortable job, that comfortable bed, that comfortable life, it's not going to give you the answers to better mental health. It's not going to give you answers to better self esteem and body image. But the hard work that you put in over a long period of time is the answer.
Yeah, 100%. And then there's just that nagging feeling. I used to have this, I don't know how you describe it, just feeling a little bit uncomfortable or like I'm not doing enough, where I'd be going to the gym and falling off at the weekend. And you always had that feeling in your mind that you're like, I can do more than this, or I can do better than this. And for me anyways, once I started getting in shape, getting fit, getting healthy, that feeling went away. And it's a nice feeling waking up in the morning and being like, fuck, I feel good. I'm in good shape. As you said earlier, if I wanted to get down to 10% body fat, I know exactly what to do. And you just feel much more in control. And I suppose with something I was thinking about recently, everyone's like, do hard things and challenge yourself and all that. I find the gym for me doesn't really fit into that space, because I fucking love going to the gym. I love the feeling of struggling on the last rep. I love the feeling of the pump. So obviously the work is difficult, but it's not challenging or hard for me. Like, I don't really have to motivate myself to get out to the gym. I find that the business side of things is probably more hard, where I have to be, okay, I'm going to have to do something different here on social media, or something different with a reel that scares me, or, get up on the YouTube. I find that's more hard for me. I kind of forget that, where, a lot of people don't fucking enjoy exercising as much as me and you. It can be a bit of a chore for them. So for them, that 30 minutes is a really hard thing.
I feel like what you're kind of describing there is that in our circumstance, we've just put more reps
Mm.
in going to the gym, for example, or enjoying. Well, man, even before when I started with my personal trainer, you probably was similar. Like when we were maybe inconsistent with the gym, for example, it was a scary place to see other people progress more than you, and then you're coming back with starting to start from zero again.
Yeah.
And like that's scary. That gym anxiety thing is so real. And like you will even get it, even if you've been a lifter for years and maybe you're just inconsistent, you come back, you might feel left behind, because you see other people progressing. And comparison is the biggest thief of joy in this scenario. The fact that you're even stepping in the gym after months of being consistent, trying again, it's not a failure. It's the fact that you're trying to better yourself every single time. Sometimes you'll fall, and you will fall many times. And that is the whole journey of everyone's, kind of hardships and struggles in life. They're not always going to be able to be consistent with the gym, but what the gym has done for me and you is we've seen progress in our lives, personal lives, with our mental health, with how we have more energy for life, our muscle hypertrophy, like the way we look, the way we feel, and just we have genuine conversation. When we go in the gym, we meet more people, we have communication. It becomes a social event,
Yeah.
And that's why I work in the gym now, and I absolutely love my job. At the end of the day, you were saying about the whole accounting job. I had a 9 to 5 job before this, and I genuinely hated my life every single day. I was
Yeah.
so unfulfilled. And now the fact that I'm in a place where I enjoyed to go at the end of my evenings, and I just enjoyed talking to people and getting in my reps, it helped me build who I am now. So I'm forever grateful to be able to be in a place that provides me with that like kind of comfort of mind of that I can help other people. And the same circumstance you're saying there, some people hate the gym, and I have to do consultations all day. Most people are just like, I just can't get in the gym. I just don't have
Mhm.
the motivation. I'm inconsistent. I'm scared to come back in. And that's fine. That is very normal. 99% of people that aren't consistent have these exact problems. So you're not alone, And the thing is, most people that are in the gym that are quite experienced have also been exactly where you are. And
Yeah.
it's like anything, people just feel anxiety towards there's certain things that you just have a lack of experience in. They haven't put in the reps. And for me and you, the gym has become a solace. It's become a place that we enjoy going to because we've embedded it into our daily habits. We plan for it. We create time for it because we've seen the benefits of it, right? Some people just haven't seen the benefits yet. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people don't usually commit to something they don't see the benefits of. And so what I would say to anyone is no matter where you're starting, just do it. Like it doesn't even have to be the gym. If you're scared to go to a paddle, just go start paddling, like who
Yeah.
cares? At the end of the day, just do something for yourself. It's
Yeah.
not about doing something hard either. Just like if you want to take up a sport, you want to just take up, even if you just want to walk more, just make time in your day at the end of the day to do 30, 40 minutes of walking. At the end of the day, like these are certain habits. If you just get out of your comfort zone, take it out of your daily routine that's so rigid, so like mundane, and you're just stuck in the cycle, do something different every now and then and switch up that routine, because if you don't shock your system and you shock your body with new things consistently, you're gonna get worse mental health, and you are just gonna feel mundane in your life, and you're not gonna feel fulfilled by the things you do.
100%. And then it becomes a vicious cycle where you don't move your body, whether that's like strength training, but I would argue everybody should be doing some form of strength training, even if they don't enjoy it. But moving your body, then you feel tired. You're fucking, maybe you're napping during the day. You don't have the energy to go to the gym. And then you're saying you don't have the energy to go to the gym, but you don't have the energy to go to the gym because you haven't gone to the gym. And it just becomes an absolute vicious cycle. And then with the whole gym anxiety, I used to get that a lot, man, when I was going first. It's funny you say that because you kind of forget that when you're so used to the routine and structure and you feel comfortable in the gym. But I used to feel, I don't know if you got this, I used to feel like I didn't belong in the gym, which was mad. I'd be going to the gym and I was like, I'm fucking too skinny to be in here, which is mental. Like, and see all these lads around me and ladies, and it just seemed they were doing the same things I was doing and progressing. And I was barely able to progress, was still looking skinny. And then I think even up until around the time, I remember when I came back from Dublin, like 3 years ago, I was going back after a break. I was like, oh, holy shit, man. I had a plan, had a program. I wasn't working with my coach at the time, but I have a fair idea of what I was doing. And I was still, geez, I feel a bit uncomfortable here. I feel a bit awkward. And you're in your head then. I'm not lifting the same weight as I did on the chest press. Will anyone notice? Like, nobody gives a fuck. The only time I notice is if I look over and someone's benching a ridiculous amount or squatting a ridiculous amount. I'm like, that's really cool. But I found, I don't know if you found this, man, I found when I was like struggling to get in shape, comparison was kind of a bad thing for me. So I'd be looking, like I said, at all these lads and ladies in the gym, and it was almost making me feel bad. Whereas now I like look at it in a different way. If I see someone that's in serious shape, or I open up the Instagram, see someone doing a crazy marathon time, that kind of gets me fired up now because I'm like, well, they're just a human like me. They're not some special person on a pedestal. And I used to think for some reason those years ago, I was different to everyone else and they were just way ahead of me.
Man, you're speaking for such facts. Exactly the same scenario. But I have a little bit of a story here. So basically, there was like when I first started running, and running was been one of those really big tasks. I think running has conquered a lot more limiting beliefs for me than even the gym has, because of I was always this kid with asthma growing up, and I just couldn't barely breathe. And I stopped a lot of sports when I was younger because I was just really bad with running and all these other athletic things that I just couldn't do, and I just couldn't catch up to all these little kids. So a lot of when I did come into the gym, a lot of it was to just kind of nearly rectify that, nearly to like some sort of give myself self-esteem boost. At least I can do the gym. I don't have to run. I don't have to be athletic. But then when I challenged myself for running, I like the first day I tried running. I remember during COVID, actually, I just tried to run and I couldn't even run 100 meters without like getting really wheezy and stopping. I just quit. I just quit at 500 meters, right? And I just went home and I was like, fuck, running is not for me, right? So I didn't even pick it back up until 2 years after that. And then when I actually took it seriously, I seen how it improved my cardiovascular exercise. I learned about how it improves my lungs. I learned about how it like I'm now then seeing, for example, people online, even around lads around my area, they're doing really fast times, and they can do a 5 minute split. And I thought that was crazy. I was like, oh my god, you're doing a kilometer in 5 minutes? That's mad. I was just blew my mind. And then I just trained for like a year and a bit. I was more consistent in the gym, and I was able to get there. And I then at park runs, I was passing some of these people by, and that broke that crazy limiting belief that I was not that person that couldn't do I
Yeah.
couldn't do that thing that I always thought was impossible. And it just like it completely shifted my self-esteem and my confidence as a person. And it wasn't even at the end of the day, it wasn't even about the running. It wasn't even about being more athletic. It was like now I see myself as someone that was worthy of such a task. And I trained for it and I actually put in the work. And when you do that for a long enough period of time and you see the results that you put in, it completely changes your identity. You're no longer that person that doesn't believe in themselves. You now you see someone else that on social media that can do a 4 minute split or is jacked. You're like, I can get there.
Yeah.
I know exactly the route that it takes.
Yeah.
Do you get me? And that's when you go from being a person that has no self-belief to a person that like really believes in themselves. And in life, if you don't truly believe in yourself, you will fail at everything else.
Yeah, 100%. And it sometimes sounds a bit woo-woo, but like the whole identity thing is so important because you can get two people that come in and they're in exactly the same circumstance, same body weight, same height, want the same result. But if one of them, as they go through the plan, still sees themselves as like, I'm just someone who falls off anyway, or I'm not someone who's fit and healthy, and they're still talking to themselves in that negative way, they can come in for 8, 10, 12 weeks, get a great result. But if you fundamentally don't believe you're someone who's fit or can get a result, you're going to struggle with it. It's interesting you've said that. I found I was starting to think that I'm just not going to get in shape because I was trying, I was working hard and it wasn't working out. That would have been scary, just to have that mindset that I'll never get in shape. But then once I got in shape, exactly as you said with the running, I was like, oh fuck, if I just commit to this thing wholeheartedly, and then I started telling myself I can do this, but if I can get in shape, why can't I start a business? Why can't I run a 10K? Why can't I run a half marathon? And literally, that's my mindset to everything now in life. Even if something's difficult or a challenge, I'm not like, oh, poor me, which I used to be. Poor me, I'm fucking stressed, bury the head, just scrap everything, don't go to the gym. It's like, fucking cool. What is this challenge? Let's see how I can accomplish it. Let's see how I can attack this challenge. And every time I have something like that, where it's maybe I'm worried about the business, or I'm like, fuck, I'm stressed about something, or it's not going well, and it has that challenge, and you attack it head on, and then you come out the other side of it, you learn a little bit more, and then you have another tool in the toolbox, another string in the bow to attack the challenges, and then you just keep building them up and up. But I find at the start of the journey is the toughest, because you said you're running 500 meters. You're probably running short distances for a couple of weeks because your body just isn't capable of it. And then you're seeing all these people running these crazy times, and you're putting in the work and you're not seeing it. And then whatever period that is for you, it could be a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then you start seeing visual changes, or then your lungs start clearing up and you're like, shit, I can actually get the runner's high. I remember at the start, I was saying to one of the lads, I was like, where the fuck is this runner's high? Because I'm running here and I'm just fucked all the time and my heart rate is through the roof. But I was just running too fast, too quick. And then once you get that feeling of progress, or things become a little bit easier, it just gets way more exciting. But it's so important to just push through that little period where you're making a change. Progress isn't as quick, or you're not seeing dramatic results like you'd expected very quickly. But once you push through that and come out to the other side, it just becomes way more enjoyable.
I agree. I agree, man.
Opens up everything so much. So man, I I'd be interested to get your thoughts on a couple of bits and pieces. So obviously there's so much information out there, and of course we're putting out information as well, adding to it, but trying to put out good information, both of us are. But like, what is something that you notice in the fitness industry that you just think that's absolute bullshit? Could be something you've seen online, maybe something you notice in person.
Don't know. It's like I think one of the biggest things that I think when people advertise doing really hard challenges all in one go. 75 hard, I kind of have a bit of a problem with it, something like that. Like at the end of the day, I think it's great for if people have like kind of a default of some sort of fitness baseline. Me and you right now, if we go on 75 hard, probably stay a bit disciplined, we could follow through. But a lot of people that start from 0 to 100, they literally have never done anything and they go, okay, 75 hard is I'm going all in, bro. And that's the all or nothing mindset. So I have a big problem with and not just people giving advice on doing stuff like that. Like I just feel like you shouldn't encourage people that have no baseline with anything, like that never tried anything, to actually do like these really hard challenges that go on for a very long time that the majority fail at. But at least look, at the end of the day, I don't think it's a negative either to as much as well, because at the end of the day it also teaches them like, okay, what is hard, but it might give them the wrong perception of hard, because what is hard for someone like me and you, 75 hard will be really challenging for me and you. We're avid gym goers, we're quite athletic, we try to keep fit, but that level of hard doesn't apply to the person that's never done anything and never been to the gym, because their level of hard is just going to the gym and doing 3 exercises, and they can't be doing all these 10 to-do list items every single day on top of doing that. The overwhelm and the all or nothing mindset that they get from that is just they fail. Like most people fail at these things because they go all or nothing from zero.
Yeah. And it's like 0 to 75. It's like, it's almost included in the name. If you miss a day, you fail the challenge. And like, realistically, in 75 days, if I was to look ahead, I've got holidays coming up, I've got trips away. So if I was doing 75 hard, I would fail it. And then I don't know, how does someone approach that? Someone could look at that and be like, oh, I got 7 days into this, I couldn't do it. I'm just a failure.
Yeah.
It's not ideal. I find, man, the big thing I notice online is a lot of people are like, just eat whatever you want and keep losing weight. I remember seeing a reel the other day and someone had a donut and they were like, you can eat this donut every day and still lose weight. There's 450 calories in it and you could have this every day. And then halfway through the video, after the hook, where she was saying you can eat fucking donuts every day, she was like, halfway through, oh, and I wouldn't recommend it. Because basically me and you know that, yeah, you could eat a donut every day. You could eat pizzas. You could eat chocolates every day. But if a good chunk of your calories each day is coming up from those sort of foods, great. You're getting balance. You're eating your chocolates every day. But say if you're a female and you're on maybe 1,800 calories a day and 450 of those are from a donut, you're going to be pretty fucking ravenous after that donut, waiting for your next meal. So I think that kind of stuff, I don't know, is it to maybe hook people in or for them to get sales where people are like, oh, sure, I'm eating chocolates and donuts and crisps and drinking alcohol most days. So this seems like this program is going to work for me. And I think it does people a disservice where you're like, oh yeah, just eat the donut every day, rather than my approach is, yeah, you can eat that shit, but if you've come to me and you're looking to lose 10 kg, I'm also going to be honest with you and tell you eating that stuff every day isn't going to fuel you. You might not feel great at points in the gym. After a couple of days, you might find that you're just very hungry. Why not just work it in every now and then as an enjoyable treat rather than trying to have everything all at once, still eat all your favorite foods and drinks? Because for a lot of people, eating all their favorite foods and drinks in large quantities every day is the reason why they're not making progress.
That's true, man. And what you mentioned there about eating a donut every single day, sure, it is the hook. When people
Yeah.
say, "Oh yeah, you can eat this donut and you can lose fat every single day," it is technically true, but 99% of people will eat that donut and they'll have another one and they'll have
Yeah.
another. The reality is the sugar cravings, the insulin spikes, the way that you crave food after having such sugary food is most people that are not trained, have not been, that have not built up good disciplines or daily habits, they're just going to crave into their cravings of having more chocolate and sweet treats, and then also then go over their calories and then not understand why they're failing, but under, that is just the hook, and we live in an attention economy, and everything is driven to stop that scroll and watch the full video. And look, at the end of the day, we have as creators, we all have to do this. But to be honest, most people will package these hooks with a bit more education in the middle, with a bit of value. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad thing sometimes, because what people that do stay on that video after that hook, they do get a little bit more education, especially if the person is giving out a bit more value. For example, if they explain why that donut actually does, like, you can eat it in a calorie deficit if you have a certain amount of thing in moderation and you're able to get your protein intake. Sure, all the disclaimers are in videos, but majority of people don't watch past the first 10
No,
seconds times,
no.
and the hook is there to just hook them in, get a little bit more engagement. And yeah, I agree, it does sometimes give the wrong message, but I guess this is the attention economy, and this is the world we live in right now.
That's what people are preying on it. And it's, yeah, that first 2 seconds of the video, it's, you're either in or you're out. Maybe even less. It could be even a second and a half at this point. Our attention spans have gone so fucked up. I know mine has gone down an awful lot. So,
Yeah.
like, what would you say, Anik? This would be interesting. We'll wrap it up pretty shortly, but if you were to go back in time and you were chatting to yourself at the start of the journey, what advice would you give yourself if you could, like, just sit down, have a conversation? What would you say?
I'd say 3 words, bro: trust the process. That's it. Honestly, after going through this process, um every single time when you're coming into it, you just have to trust the process. You just have to say, this is a process. There is certain circumstances and consequences and things that you have to make trade-offs and sacrifices, and you'll feel low and you will want to quit 1,000 times, but trust that process, that initial game plan we have, the workout plan, the diet, the nutrition, the actual monitoring of how a coach gives you advice. Trust the process, because you're getting someone that has experience in doing this with many other people, or also giving you an unbiased opinion on your own life, where you will be less harsh to yourself if you were monitoring yourself, and you'll be easy and you'll let yourself eat that donut, for example. But at the end of the day, when a coach sees you eating that donut, he can tell you, okay, maybe you shouldn't have that donut. Maybe you should take down that bit of you can utilize that calories in a better way, you know. And that little bit of advice, even a coach saying you can utilize the calories in a certain in a better way, maybe a tiny, even getting an option of switch, an alternative, for example, in your day-to-day habits, and you make that little swap, it makes everything. I remember at the end of my cut, I was on like 1,600 calories, right? And I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't know. I don't want to get down to 12%. I just wanted to quit, bro. And basically, I just said, how the heck am I going to make this sustainable? And he just said, just get in as much of your protein as possible. So I was eating a lot of like chicken and stuff like that, and a lot of meats. But then he said, when you want to satiate yourself, just eat a carrot really slowly. Like, just eat a carrot and let it really just, enjoy the food. Just eat it really slowly. And that mental trick did wonders. And you get me, that little piece of advice actually saved me on my cut at the end of my cut. And that stuff that doesn't just come on the internet sometimes, And
Yeah.
sometimes on the internet, you don't listen to shit like that.
No.
You listen to it if someone tells you in real life that you've paid to tell you that.
And they give you that one piece of information. So it's a lot easier to implement rather than when you're scrolling social media and you're like, I'm starving. Maybe you type into YouTube, hungry on a cut, and you get 100 videos. You'll probably watch a load of YouTube shorts and be like, okay, I've just consumed 20 minutes. And then you just don't implement anything because it's
No.
fucking too much. Whereas if your coach to you is like, try this one thing, just eat a carrot, let me know how it goes. And you're like, oh shit, this worked.
Yeah, because you're more focused and you're more attentive towards listening to conversation. Me and you right now are on this conversation, and all our digital devices are away from us. So we're just focusing on the words and the conversation that we're having right now. And that's exactly what you do when a coach, even when he gives you a feedback on a check-in in a Loom video, it's like you're focusing on the words and you're like, okay, how can I apply this to my life? And
Mhm.
it's the same as this conversation right now. So but when you are more attentive, which you're not majority of the time when you are just watching, shorts or TikTok reels or whatever, but yeah, man, at the end of the day, the 3 words: trust the process.
Trust the process. I'd probably say to myself, I'd probably be maybe a little bit harsher, but maybe this is unfair because that old version of me didn't really know what I know now. But I would be, you fucking don't know as much as you think you do. And I'd ask him, if you look back honestly at the last 6 months, did you really make progress towards the goals you're after? And I would have made a small bit, but it's nowhere near enough. And I think I fell into the trap of I'm training, I'm tracking 4 to 5 out of 7 days. It's almost sunk cost. I'm putting in the work, but I'm not doing the last 10, 20% that I need to do. And just to have someone be like, look, you just don't know as much as you think you do. You really need to look back at 6 months and you haven't made the progress that you should be making. That probably would have got me to hire a coach a lot sooner, but
I feel like that what you just said there was like, just lose the ego. Do you know?
yeah,
Lose
yeah,
the ego. Like, at the end of the day, like, we all have these little egos thinking that we have studied or we've experienced or we've done
yeah,
something. But when you sit in a room and you are the least smartest person in the room, you will absorb more, you'll learn more, and that's when you just completely lose the ego around people. Or even when you think someone else might have better information than you, just listen and
yeah,
be attentive. At the end of the day, like, losing that ego is the biggest advantage to yourself, because you're doing yourself a disservice if you think you know everything.
yeah. Yeah, and I was very much like that. I've watched all these YouTube videos. I know about a calorie deficit, and that's just scratching the surface as well. And what would you advise someone watching this, or even a friend comes to you and they're stuck right now? They want to get in shape, they want to drop the body fat, maybe they want to bulk up, build some muscle, and they're just not happy with how they look and they're just frustrated.
Oh, so So basically, like, they're frustrated with their progress. First of
Mm,
all, you have to understand where they are and how their diet has been. You look at the last 6 months of their habits, and then you can tell them if you keep up with this 6 months, it's going to be the exact same. So you kind of point out what they've been doing isn't exactly what they need to be doing. If they took a bit more, advantage of, for example, just even learning about calories, tracking their calories a bit more, and getting their metabolism to reset a bit more, and then understand how to actually how you bring down the calories, and then how to be on a cut or a bulk, for example. Um, but yeah, I think it all comes down to the level of education that they learn about nutrition. Everything is nutrition. 90%, 90% of the work is learning about nutrition and what you have to fuel your body with. Because the if you are lacking in your gains and you're lacking in your progress, like, and you don't feel energetic or going in the gym, a lot of that down just comes down to what you're eating in a day and how is that fueling you for your workouts.
yeah, 100%, man. Well, great chat, man. Absolutely fucking good to chat with you as always, man. We
Yeah.
always have good conversations on a podcast, outside of a podcast, in the gym, outside of the gym. So, an absolute pleasure. You might just drop your Instagram here for anybody that is watching this back. They might want to follow you, get some
Yeah,
advice.
man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on, man. Alan, it's always is a pleasure chatting to you. And yeah, man, just if anyone wants to find me on Instagram, TikTok, it's the same handle, just Onik Malu Fitness, ANIQMALU Fitness, at all social medias. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, my man.
Great stuff, my man. Good to chat.